Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the finale, the final round of the GT Challenge ESR ACC series. This is at Suzuka Raceway, one of my favorite circuits, and it is our final mini enduro 90 minutes of chaos. I am your host, Cole McCray. Today we are joined by the lovely Justin Swan.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Ooh, very good. Ooh, I'm tingling. Um, I cannot wait for this. Unfortunately, this will be a little bit delayed from the actual race happening. Unfortunately, there were some circumstances that kind of came together to ruin our chances of a stream, but that's okay. We're going back to it's an extra throwback, for the GT 2016 challenge.
Yeah, a little bit
So
of pre-recorded footage.
exactly, this is the way we used to do it. So no replays, no, not very many of the fancy overlays. We'll still have some, but just the nature of the beast. As this kind of way the cookie crumbled. So let's get right on into it and see what's going on. We're in basically the beginning of qualifying. As you see, we're looking at John Archie currently on the pole for qualifying. And a little bit smaller of a field today, kind of like last couple of weeks, as people kind of give up on the championship a little bit. That Audi Belgian team is doing something fierce. But of note, we still only have two cars, at least so far. Higgs and Kenny are the only two of the Audi team. So not entirely sure what happened to happen with Brandon Baker.
I think
but,
he was bound to miss this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I must have missed the memo.
He was bound to miss this one, but with customs to Japan and all during the Olympics and whatnot, I'm sure there was some issues getting passports for all the drivers. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But no, it's a shorter field. This is definitely a track we don't race a lot though. But the good news is we've got a good core here. We have a few new faces, Mr. and I know I'm gonna mess this up. I believe it's Kawajiri, but I'm gonna double check that. We talked about not messing it up before this started. Actually,
Yeah, we did.
A new driver to the field. They're joining us for this race and the future. Hopefully, they had a good one here and they'll like to come back. They were a last-minute entry a week going into the this race here, and so yeah, that's the only new face on the field. I'm excited to see where qualifying takes us. We've got some very familiar ones like Butler, Simmons, Dave Nelson. We've got the majority of the Sunday crew here, the strong core components, and we'll have to see how it goes, see how this qualification plays out.
Yeah, as I kind of look at the scoreboard, I realized I might have jumped the gun a little bit. No one's on the pole because no one's set a time yet. So it's just by virtue of being there, I guess, that Archie is on the top. But yeah, lots of good variety of drivers here. I believe it's Taranosuke Kawajiri. I think that's their first name. But we still got quite a very field. Albert Hona, Javier Castaño Munoz. Unfortunately, no Wesley Stokes, it seems. So I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm pretty confident that that's going to be, without that extra assistance, that's going to be not very easy to overcome the championship there for Team XRT, but we'll have to see. Marco Bessi still hanging on, number 888 Ferrari, and Adam David Broche, likewise. Those are two that are in it just for the fun of the chase and that kind of thing. I mean, I gotta say I agree. Suzuka, as I said, is one of my favorite tracks, and so I would not miss this race for the world if I was in the series. So props to them.
Yeah, and despite the short field, we do have a very good smattering of cars here. I think with 16 cars, we're still representing 8 or 9 of the makes. We've got a Bentley, we've still got our Rex competitor in Max Simmons. We now have a last-minute Mercedes entry from Kawajiri, and so that's good. We're in a position to see all the different cars come out and do their best on the battlefield that is Suzuka. So hopefully, this one turns out to be a good one.
I forget, just a little bit of an aside, talking about Mercedes, I forget, is the SLS AMG even an option for this series? Did they run one of those in 2016?
No, there's the two. Well, they
have two variants
did.
of
They were still
AMG
transferring
GT.
over to the version of the AMG that we know today.
Mm-hmm.
and obviously that one was updated with an Evo version in 2020. The long headlight version, as I call it, the one that had the very long headlights going up the front fenders.
Yep.
That one was one that was raced in 2016, but it's not actually represented in ACC.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Ah, bummer. I don't know. I actually saw an AMG GT today, just driving home from running some errands, and gotta say, it looks. I am not a huge fan of it, but it looks a lot better in real life than it does in pictures and in games. I saw like a midnight blue kind of looking thing. It was like three
Yeah.
different shade metallic. Looked pretty nice. I then did look up a picture of an SLS, and I still prefer the older one. I don't know. To me, this one's just a little bulbous, but you can't argue with the results. The AMG is definitely, or the GT, I should say, is definitely faster.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was, at the time, it was a very distinctive looking car. I know that Race Room offers that particular version of the SLS AMG, and it's something, that's for sure. It definitely had a little bit more personality. I think the car still has personality now, it still has a good stance to it, but it conforms a little bit more. It's a little
Yeah.
bit more what you expect a race car to look like, whereas the SLS beforehand with those goofy headlights, which they're burned into my head, um, just really stuck out. I wanna say the rear end, like where the deck lid is, was also, even stumpier on the SLS. Like, there was less behind, there was less junk in the trunk as well. So it looked even more, front heavy. Like it was the personification of buck teeth in
Yeah,
my
right.
mind.
The one
So,
thing that the one thing that I just realized, like, I wonder what they did. There's no way they kept the because the SLS had the gull wing doors. There's no way the race car had that, right?
oh,
Because I
that's a
know they
good
also they
question.
also made they also made a drop top spider version that didn't have that obviously you can't have a gull wing on convertible top, so they had normal doors for that. But I wonder if the race car. There's no way the race car had gull wing doors, right? I gotta look this up.
Uh, I know. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
it
know.
did! Holy crap! That is
Yeah.
amazing. I love it. I
It's
just seen
probably
pictures of
easier
it.
to get in and out. I call, back to when they used to have like the GT1 Mercedes and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, I'm looking at one that apparently in 2017, one of the doors malfunctioned, and they were driving it around the track a little bit with the door flung open, and
That's awesome.
that's pretty amazing. All right,
Yeah, no,
okay, the
they
more you know.
definitely were functional. Yeah, that car definitely, it's grown on me. It has almost
Oh,
a retro 90s feel. Yeah, it seems like there's a little bit of lage happening on
Liege, I love it.
a little lage. And as we switch
little
over to
internet
Cliff
liege.
Union's beautiful, bombastic, bodacious Bentley here,
Yeah, it's James
that's a
Butler actually.
oh, is it Buzz Butler? Then we have two Bentleys in the field.
Yeah, looks like it.
We do.
That's
Awesome.
uh that's the highest Bentley representation we've seen in a long time.
It is.
They're
I
taking
have a
over.
soft spot for the Bentley, especially the
I
old
do.
Bentley like we see here, because it's just a little bit more massive as we get a nice shot of them in pit lane side by side with
Yeah.
the two matching liveries. One of them, I think it's
I gotta
J
say,
J and D Farms and
I don't
SM.
know. The newest one, I think I'm not very familiar with Bentley. Spoiler alert, but I think I've seen shots of the new kind of Evo or whatever they call it, just the newer one that's done in the classic Bentley British racing green with the
Yep.
giant eight or the numbers written on the grill. Kind of like they used to do
Yeah,
back in the
yeah.
days of old. I have a huge soft spot for that. It looks great. And the M Sport Bentleys, which may be kind of represented here. I don't know exactly what model these are, but with the white and the dual tone green stripes, I also have a soft spot for that. Um, and yeah, I think I've always thought Bentley in racing is kind of a weird thing, right? Because they're these giant Luxo barges. Even the Continental Speed or Mulsanne and stuff. They're all performant, but no one will confuse them for a supercar, right? And so
Yeah, and I
them
think
being
that's
in
crazy
racing,
because
it
they've
always it
always
always
been in
perplexed
racing.
me. Yeah, exactly.
That's what's crazy. Is they've been here from literally day one. I think you could probably find Bentleys from the 20s and in the Audis that raced, big 16-cylinder engines. Of course, I'm not the guy to remember that. I'm sure you might have some knowledge in your back pocket of what I'm talking about, like the old
Oh
Indy
yeah.
cars of yore.
Oh yeah. Like the old Speed 8 and the Speed 12 and things like that. I mean, those are prototypes, but I mean, that's another thing. They're like, to Bentley of all people to be doing Le Mans prototypes is just like, why you? That doesn't make any sense. But I love it all the same. Although now that I think about it, Audi. When did Audi and Volkswagen buy Bentley? Was that? It had to be after the 90s because Rolls-Royce owned Bentley in the 90s. I
I
don't
was
know.
going back further than that. I was talking about when they used to race those cars that when you honk the horn, it went awooga. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
you mean
I
the
was like
the 19 Audis and
yeah,
the
yeah, the 19
1920s.
Audis in the
Okay,
1920s.
I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the 2020s and 20
No, I'm
Audis.
talking spare tire on the fender
Hey, is that an old
level, you
joke? You
know.
call me old?
Yeah. Look at
Got me.
they've been
Damn it.
around racing since then. So it's always
Okay.
interesting, you know, when you look at Bentley now and you go, "Man, why is this a race car?" And then you go, "Well, actually, it's
It's
always
always
been a
been a
race
race
car.
car.
It always has been." You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
meme of the
The
spaceman and the other
astronauts.
spaceman. Yeah,
Yep. Wait, it's
exactly
a
what we
race
got here.
car? Always has been.
Exactly. Someone get on that. We
uh,
need a new Bentley Continental, and then we need like the old 1920s Bentley holding a gun to the back of its head.
that's
I'm a race
awesome.
car. You always have been.
Exactly. A
Exactly.
quick little sidebar. Looks like everyone is finished quali except for David Nelson and ooh, a little slidey.
Ooh,
That's
well, he's
probably gonna
not
be
gonna
end of
get a
that
best time
quali.
now.
And John Aldian. So if unless no, that's gonna be it. So there's no way Nelson is gonna set a best time. So that's our quali order. Uh, quick recap: John Aldian in first, Sean Kenny two, um, Kawajiri, whose first name I forget, is third, Dominic Turkov fourth, the twin Lamborghinis, excuse me, of John Archie and David Nelson, fifth and sixth. Uh, James Butler in seventh. Marco Bessi 8, Alvaro Rahona 9, Javier Eugeni 10. The Javiers are around the ninth and 10th today. Castanya Munoz in 10th. Matt Higgs failing to break the top 10. That's not a thing we see happen very often.
No, it's
In
not.
11th. John
Also,
Barker in
Aldian
12th.
dropped from the session.
Oh, uh-oh, that's not good.
Uh-oh, stinky.
A little shenanigans, mayhaps.
Mm,
Did Sean Kenny have some input into the tuning of the car? Maybe.
yeah. Well, hopefully he gets
Couple of
back in
tires
time for
missing.
the race. I hope.
But yeah, so Adam David Broche in 14th and Cliff Hemian rounding out our 15 car grid. So where was I back? Bentley. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, Kawajiri in his first outing, second place, not at all too shabby, not too shabby at all.
No, he's in a strong vehicle here. I just noticed Turcotte's on the grid as well, so it looks like the Mercedes are having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mercedes
Porsche's
Lamborghini's doing
not.
well.
Yeah, Porsche's not doing so hot. Not sure what's going on with Higgs. I know Higgs has been carrying that ballast, but not sure what's going on. Apparently, Aldian was having some crazy connections issues based on the chat. It's just full red ping all over the place,
Oh
floating
yeah,
around. We'll have to see about that.
it would be
Other than
tasteful
that,
hentai. Jeez.
yeah, I was gonna say let's not go there.
I'll do
Uh,
my best.
so going
So
into our
quite a
race
mix up in
here,
our field.
it is, and it's a shame to see Aldian not making the grid back in time for the start of this race with 5 seconds to go, as he has been a breakout superstar for ESR in that BMW.
Oh yeah, starting off in it was only what a couple seasons ago in the academy that he was in where he did
Yeah, and he picked it up
well.
quick. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Man, I almost kind of miss that academy when Ayrton was running it because he had these like all these like driver profile and interviews and stuff set up that he would go into, and I kind of enjoyed those actually. As I was helping him with the commentary, I would kind of sit back and look with eyes beaming into my screen like, oh, new drivers, new talent kind of thing, and hearing where they came from and stuff. Looks like John Barker's struggling a little bit in that chicane. Hopefully they can stack back up. Um,
Okay.
but yeah,
Cars are
unfortunately, John
stacking up.
Alden was
Looking
not
a little
able
bit
to
confused.
they come to the starting line / finishing line.
Incredible helmet cam view from Stanio Muniz.
Yeah, you can see it. His gaze is totally locked. Green flag's going though. Start of the race. Looks like Bessie was unable to get a good launch. We got total pileups happening in the back. 3-4 wide. Oh no! That's the John Archie and David Nelson go colliding with each other. Looks like the Bentley of Butler is off. Archie is trying to recover on the inside.
Recovered, yeah.
Nelson actually did great. He's up into second, it appears, while Archie, we can see, is just falling through the ranks. Beginning of the race, no, not a whole, not the worst thing ever. Looks like he's struggling to slot back in with Simmons, David Broche, and Hemian.
I'm curious to
All
see
in the
how
back
Simmons'
there.
vehicle does here. This is not a track made for a one-way rocket ship. It's going to be under a lot of stress to keep it going the right direction.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see. Suzuka is one of those tracks. Oh no, we have that's Bessie going around,
back.
and also taking out a Porsche. I believe that's Arjona who just got the boot.
Yeah, I think so.
We're coming up to a timing gate. It should be any
that's
second
the
now.
red wing mirrors. That's got to be Castagno.
Oh, that's Castagno. Uh-oh.
And now somehow Arjona and Castagno, well, minus Castagno, but Arjona is all the way up to 4th place after starting nearly outside the top 10.
Yeah.
So some uncharacteristic fighting and in qualifying maybe kept him back from getting a good time.
Yeah, I think I'll file that under the general craziness category. There's just crap happening. But that's just the way it goes. Lap 1. Unfortunately, that was one of our less clean lap 1s we've seen in a while, and it's not even over yet. Yeah, we can see Castagno and Bessie falling. Oh, it looks like Bessie had something else happen. Not entirely sure what happened.
I think he ended up the wrong direction. So getting it right in, it looks like he's about a second and a half behind Broche at the last time. Excuse me, the last timing gate. So with how tight the pack is, could have been a lot worse. He's realistically only about 10 seconds off the leader still somehow. But I'm sure he's not going to be very happy with that. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it works out. I am kind of curious how Max Simmons in that Lamborghini does. He's already up to 8th after qualifying 13th. So, I mean, that's obviously not a result of pure speed. There was quite a bit of carnage happening, but it'll be interesting to see how he holds on. He's been pretty good in that car. Suzuka is a really mixed bag, though, as you kind of alluded to earlier. It does have, the very famous 130R straight, and then also the front straight, but neither of those are ultra long to allow the Gallardo to come into its element truly. And then there are a lot of mid-speed corners, Spoon, the Casio chicane.
Yeah, I think it's really going to struggle in Degner, yeah, that too. We saw him coming through Degner there, and it looked like the speed difference of the Gallardo compared to everything else there is just astronomical.
We kind of saw glimpses in the back. Oh, it looks like Cliff Hemian is being passed by John Archie through the corner before Spoon. I forget what the name of it is.
It's more of a straight, really.
Yeah.
So here they're going into Spoon here. We'll have to see how this field starts to spread out. Looks like the Bentley gets a little bit better of a mid corner through there with all that meaty weight up on the nose to keep the car ripped up in the front. And we'll kind of run these guys get going down. So far they seem really even to draft.
So we got Bessie and David Broche in the 2x. Oh, whoa! Cliff Hemian with a really bad tank slapper. Oh no, it gets punted by Arjona. Or is that? Wait, what?
That's Castagno.
That's Castagno. That's got the yellow mirrors.
Nope, that was orange. Castagno has the orange mirrors. And I think that might be Cliff's day.
Oh no! Okay, wow. I must be colorblind. Oh no, that's terrible. I could have sworn they were yellow. But ouch, that's just unfortunate. That was one of the most intense tank slappers I've ever seen. John Barker trying to find his way around Max Simmons as he goes through turn 1. Right on the bumper. All the 3 cars are basically the same color. I just noticed.
They're all blue and gray.
But they're gonna have to see how that works out. the twin Ferraris behind them are some distance away, but it's unlikely to remain that way going through the S's at the start here. They're only a couple seconds down from Eugenie in front, who's had a pretty uneventful day so far. Of note, Matt Higgs has made his way up to 6th place. So maybe going to be able to creep his way up the field and figure out what's going on there. Looks like Simmons might have a smidge of front end damage. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at here, but ooh, are they going to go 3 wide through the hairpin? No, only 2 wide. Archie on the outside of Barker.
That's quite a bold place to make a move, but it sticks.
It worked out. Dang, I didn't expect that at all. As we've said many times before, that V12 Vantage can get the whole shot really well, but he just, I don't know,
Hooked
didn't
it around the
plant it.
outside.
Yeah.
There's a lot more banking in the hairpin than people expect. Maybe he just kind of hung it around the outside of the banking and got the job done before the Aston could put the pedal down. Now he's
Ooh,
going side by side, 2 in 1 lap, 2 in 1 sector even.
Simmons got
Side
a
by side.
Yeah, Simmons got a pretty bad run out of Spoon. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Maybe he hooked over a what are they called? Curb. Oh no, but Archie goes sideways around 130R. That mid-engine weight balance is a killer sometimes. I wouldn't
Keeps it
expect
off the
130R
wall.
though.
He does keep it off the wall though.
It
Those
looked like he
curbs
got.
coming out are deadly. You have to be careful. You hit the curbs on exit wrong, and all of a sudden your car is bottomed out, and that rear diffuser isn't doing much anymore.
Oh yeah, definitely. I almost wonder if there might be how these guys have tuned, for example, their aero. Um, It could be possible that some of these are guys are.
Oh,
Oh
there
no,
he
John
goes
Archie around
again.
again. That almost looked like just a snap. I wonder if he's running low rear arrow.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that too. Actually, these guys might have trimmed out the arrow, not really, you know, thinking about the long haul here, thinking about more getting around drivers, as it can be very hard to pat. And
Ooh,
he's chain slapping into the S's.
he can't. He just can't figure out that steering. His I mean, there's no doubt that his tires are absolutely covered with dirt right now, but he's struggling more than I would have expected.
Yeah, and the car doesn't look all that damaged. It looks like he's having a lot of trouble keeping the car straight. Going
Well, I
into
will
these
say,
high G corners under heavy braking, that rear end wants to get a little loose on him. And we go to his partner in crime, David Nelson, now, who's holding back the ever stalking Matt Higgs.
Nelson is one of the only people I think to not change positions at all. I mean, he has gone back and forth a little bit, but he's exactly where he qualified, 5th place, and everyone kind of moves around him. He's traded Archie for Arjona, Butler for Higgs, you know, Bessie for Eugenie. They're all over the place. He's just kind of pitching his flag there.
Whoa,
Oh,
and
Max
Simmons
Simmons with a wide
scrappy.
slide. Woohoo!
Wow.
That was nice.
Now he does have some rear end damage, so that could explain that. But yeah, I mean it's a tough one. These cars are trimmed out massively, and
Was
you can have some problems here if you trim it out a little too thin.
Well, as I've kind of alluded to earlier, this is a track that's difficult to tune for. There's plenty of there's basically some of every speed corner. There's some really low speed ones. Speaking of the hairpin, Casio chicane, which Castagna Munoz is fighting Bessie over right now. There's the S's that are pretty medium speed, Dunlop, Degner, that kind of stuff. There's also the really high speed ones, like 130R. The straights preceding it, the one right after the Casio chicane, the one they're on right now. So it's really difficult. You got to kind of pick what you want because you obviously there's no active arrow or anything. So you got to kind of pick what you want your car to be best at. Um, like last weekend, I was at Road America in our mini enduro series we do with Tugas. I'm pretty sure that's pronounced something else, but that's how I always said it. And I was driving the M6, like Javier Eugeni in 7th there, and I found getting just keeping front arrow pretty high, but rear arrow turning that down a peg could get turn in to be really nice around some of those tighter or those longer sweeping corners, I should say. And I wonder if Archie might have done something similar. Where did he go? Oh, he's in last place. That makes sense.
Yeah, he might have been a little bit too aggressive with the brake. A lot of different things that you know that could cause the car to have such snappy properties. Could be an issue with you know give the dampening range. Too much on the front, car will pitch too much into the corner and disturb the aero profile, and the car will go ass over face.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that go into it to keep the car stable. And one wrong calculation, and all of a sudden the car might feel better overall.
Oh no,
Oh, and
smoke
that's
screen's deployed.
Turcotte.
Is that
That is
Turcotte?
Turcotte. Yeah, he's got some serious front end damage. It seems like the 130R claims another victim.
You know,
It is out for blood.
I would not have expected that. 130R, I mean, it's not a safe corner by any means, but I don't
It
think I've
is
ever
a
seen this much chaos.
I don't know. It claims some. It is a nigh flat out corner. You know, you're going. Oh man, over 200 Ks in these cars, believe it or not, with just a light lift of the throttle, no brake. Some drivers tap the brakes a little bit, but it's really just a smidgen. So there's a few different approaches, and it's very likely that some of these drivers are getting thrown off by that, where one driver might only lift and lift a bit earlier, another driver might lift might lift later and actually just tap the brakes and get right back on the throttle. So
That's
could be,
possible.
you know, in a pack, that corner can be tough, and then also, again, in a pack, you have different aero properties. Your wing isn't doing as much as it does when you're inside someone's, you know, tunnel.
Wait, yeah.
So,
Hmm.
it's absolutely possible that these guys trimmed the car out for racing solo, and now that they're racing nose to tail when they move through that section, the car is a little bit light on the aero. They needed a little bit more rear wing in it. Um, that's entirely
Hmm.
possible as well.
That's actually a great point. I never thought about that. But 130R is a really popular place to get tight in with your opponent and to try and make a, spook them a little bit. But it's easy, or it could be easy to, overestimate how much grip you'll have when you're in dirty air, like Higgs is right now coming up on Arjona. Um, both Nelson and Higgs passed Javier Eugeni in the last few sectors. They just caught that. But though Higgs has also gotten past Nelson, so again, everyone's switching around Nelson, and he's just kind of planting it in fifth. But I do wonder how the balance of the car affects 130R, because so far we've seen basically all types spun around there. We've seen Archie with the Lamborghini, Turcotte with the Mercedes. You just lost someone. Um,
I think it's Turcotte. He had a lot of
oh, you're right.
damage.
Yep, that checks
A
out.
lot of damage. So the attrition's already a factor here, and we're not even halfway to our pit window.
Yeah, good point. Um, I'm kind of curious that Castagna Muniz is struggling with to catch Bessie so much.
Oh, he has major damage. He
Oh,
was
that's right.
involved.
He got bonked in the 130R. That's
With
right.
Cliff, when Cliff went sideways, he T-boned him. So I mean, the fact that he's holding on to a pack at all to me is quite surprising.
Well, evidently they're
Um,
fighting pretty hard. We just saw Bessie get around David Broche
yeah, I
one
think
more
it'll
time.
be interesting to see what David Roche does. I know all three of these cars are walking wounded, but I would presume that Broche is not. He's just a bit of a off-pace driver. He's new to sim racing. He's new to ESR still. This is his first season he's done with us. Having this caliber of driver, he's got three drivers that are, you know, plat or gold next to him. I think this is, though for some reason Bessie is rated bronze. That's interesting, but he's not.
Well,
He shouldn't be at least.
Bessie's only been here for a couple of races in this series at least.
Yeah.
Uh
Oh,
oh,
and there goes
David Broche
Broche.
gets the punteroni.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of a punters.
I wonder if that looked like Castagna might have had a little hand in that.
Yeah, he could have been helped along. That's unfortunate for his race, though. It looks like he didn't take too much damage, just grazed the wall there. What I was saying, though, is it might be a good thing for him to have some time around these drivers that are in slower cars because of the damage, but I didn't take into account the fact that they might be a little less in control of their vehicles because of the damage. So, sorry, Brosh.
Yeah, well, it
Brosh.
happens. I mean, that's the name of the game is mitigating poor circumstances, right?
Yeah, hopefully his race picks up as things go on. It's a shame when someone gets stuck on an island by themselves like that, but the most important thing is seat time, getting used to feeling how a car changes over a long run. Sometimes it can be hard to do that in practice, and even doing it in practice is not the same. You could sit there and do an hour-long, uh, fuel stint in practice, and when you go out there in the race, it's all bets are off. Everything's just enough different. You know what I mean? It's just enough
Mhm.
different that things don't feel right.
Well, I mean, I am definitely familiar with that one. One thing I always struggle with even now in ACC is just how different the between track conditions and the aero with new people and the weather, or with people in front of you, excuse me, and the weather and all this sort of things. The car can be completely different feeling, depending on all these variables. And so I get it. I totally understand. We were watching now the battle of the straight liners in Max Simmons and John Barker in the Rex Gallardo and the V12 Vantage, respectively. This will
Hmm.
be kind of interesting one. I imagine that Vantage is a little more composed through the aero sections, or the fast turns.
Oh yeah,
And
the Vantage is a much nicer car to drive than the Rex. Um, but the Rex is going to pivot better in the
mhm,
really slow speed corners. So the hairpin, the Casio triangle, it's going to have a bit more pivot through there. So we'll have to see how this one goes. I don't see the V12 making any crazy move and having some huge advantage. I think it's going to come down to which of the two drivers here is more consistent.
mhm.
Um, but it's definitely fun to see the two oldest cars in the field battling it out inside the top 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not doing too poorly either. Um, Simmons is up 5 positions from his qualifying, and Barker is up 3. Or
There's
no,
that
4.
consistency
Oh,
factor.
there we
Simmons
go though.
overshoots the Casio triangle, and there he goes.
Oh, got a little bit slidey out of the last turn as well.
Yeah, there he comes. And now we're on board with Sean and Kenny. I recognize that helmet.
Yeah.
Green Audi. Can't miss it.
I love it.
And now we're
Ar-
back to Arjona.
Arjona battling with Higgs. I'm
I
kind of
feel like these two
surprised.
could have quite the rivalry going into future seasons on ESR.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they've certainly been making it up in this one, and Higgs around the inside of Dunlop.
Yeah, that's gonna leave them too wide up to Degner.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
that's never
yep.
good.
I was wondering about
You
that. I
can't
didn't
you
want to.
can't take Degner too wide. Not in these cars.
And then Arjona goes off too.
Yeah, he goes wide after, probably threw the whole balance of the car off. And Jenny says, "Thank you very much, Slam Bam. Thank you, ma'am. I'll take
Two
those.
positions just like that. Num num num.
Yep, delicious. Feed me, Seymour."
Like feed me Seymour, lovely. I love it. The house is burning. Um, but yeah, Javier Eugeni has kind of been the unsung hero a little bit of this series. I mean, he's like I've said it before a little bit in past races. He's kind of been the champion of the M6 of the kind of bygone era a little bit, and in his element, he's been pretty dang consistent and pretty. I won't say spectacular, but he's put on a good
He's
show.
doing well.
He,
Yeah.
he's found himself success and just kind of planting his ass in the position he's at, and letting everyone kind of crumble around him a little bit. James Butler getting really squirrely around 130. I've never seen anyone take it that kind of uh abruptly. That was
Once
interesting.
Yeah, once the car gets away from you there, if you take the corner wrong, it's better to bail out entirely, go around the outside rumble strip on that runoff, and then come back on once the car is straight in that little bit of a run up to the braking zone.
Yeah.
If you try to get back over that rumble strip too soon, the car will come around. And I think that's probably what a few of our competitors that have had some drama there probably tried to do. They tried to hold it, but it's better to just admit defeat, go wide, and then come back in and take your licks from the auto-directed um, race track limit system.
We lost another car. It's Adam David Broche. So Broche is retired.
Yeah, and the field gets smaller. Well, you know what? If you finish this one, you're in good shape to finish in the top 10. And just remember that the newspapers don't always say how many people finished; they just say where you finished. So
Exactly.
if you start flipping them papers and, hey, mom, I made top 10.
Yeah, right.
There were 8
Hey, I mean,
cars.
Like, hey, don't if you don't brag how many if the school had trouble filling the varsity team, you just brag that you're on the varsity team. You don't.
Precisely,
Just
precisely.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yep. You don't have to say how many cars you passed, just where you finished.
Well, I mean, I think Eugenie is probably the poster child for maybe not that exactly, but he's no stranger to letting everyone else kind of dig their own grave, so to speak. Going back on that
Yeah.
130R thing a little bit, I was actually I see you see that happen a lot in real life racing. Drivers trying to recover from a slow spin or a tank slapper often end up making it way worse than it usually is, or than it would otherwise end up being.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Oh,
we
there
go,
goes Bessie
Marbesi.
again.
Woohoo!
Coming out spoon.
Looks like he
Kept it
kept it
off
off
the
the
wall.
wall. That was close.
That was dicey. And that's another one of those things. These cars seem real tank slappy here today, and I'm not sure what's going on, guys. Throw a little bit of air on the back.
I
I
guess.
promise you, you'll have a better race if you don't spin. Those 2/10 are not worth those 3 seconds that you spend, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
or more.
Oh, at least yeah.
And now we're back with Kenny. So Kenny is an interesting subject because last race he had his victory snatched from him due to some pit road speeding issues.
Mhm.
There was a knocked over pit board, some gamesmanship, some drama there. We'll leave it at that. But now he is in the position. He's sitting ugly, up in first place,
By a decent
and
margin too.
yeah, he's got a now 6 second lead on the newcomer, and so he's definitely in a position to bring this one home. It's a long race. He still has almost 70 of the 90 minutes to go, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch, Eddie. But I love chickens.
I
But
love to. Yep.
let's cross our fingers because I think if there's one driver that has earned a win this season by sheer power of will, it's probably Kenny. He's been on and off pace most tracks for finishing very well, and this would be the first time we've seen a culmination of that this season. This would be his first win. This season might be his first win on a Sunday since I've been in charge of it, actually. I don't remember him winning a race on a Sunday.
It's decently possible. I mean, had no shortage of success. None quite as spectacular as this. I mean, again, probably invoking commentator's curse a little bit there. Um, and we see
Darlani does the
Arjona
right
going
thing.
really
He goes
wide.
wide, and then he
Yeah.
brings it back safely.
Oh, also one thing I was thinking about earlier. I don't think I've ever seen anyone hit that inside curb on 130R, but I imagine that'd be a pretty big killer because that's kind of what was it Butler? Yeah, Butler did. Oh wait, Hemian's gone too. When did that happen?
Hemian had the
Oh, he
Butler.
was
No,
the first
Butler's
one.
here. It's Hemian that left.
Yeah, that's what I
Hemian
was
was
saying.
yeah.
That's what I was saying.
No,
Hemian's gone.
you can hit the inside curb in some cars in some circumstances, like on a hot lap. You can. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can.
Well, yeah.
You have to overshoot the curb kind of and go for the grass almost.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit less of a jump on the grass than it is directly over the curb. The GT4s, you can hit it. I know when I set pole here in the KTM of all cars, which, by the way, don't do that. Just don't. Save yourself the trouble. The KTM, especially here, especially when I was trying to really drive it fast, it was not fun at all.
Oh, why do you say that?
The rear end feels like I'm driving on skates.
Oh, really? Just
Yeah, not
no
even skates,
downforce?
like skis. Even with the downforce maxed out, the rear end is just very skatey. I don't know. It didn't want to stay planted,
Fascinating.
that's for sure. So I had to run max rear wing here. I was
Yikes.
doing a paltry like 156 or something ridiculous. Like I was not going fast. Let me put it that way. I was very
Oh, you're talking
very slow.
156 K's speed.
Yeah, I was
Oh, I thought
very
you're.
slow.
Oh, wow.
I was
I thought you were
very
talking about
slow.
I thought you were talking about time. I was like, dang, that's like 6 seconds
No.
faster than these guys.
No, 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 no,
But yeah.
no. No, I was going very slow. Like even down into here, it was a very, very slow car in a straight line. I was able to manage a pole position in it. I think my time was a 2:11.
Yeah.
which was painful and steamy. But it wasn't fun and it wasn't sustainable to race the car that hard. I ended up spinning early in the race while defending from Mr. Paul Benny. And
Well,
I
that's
went on one hell of a recovery drive after that in the short 40-minute race and managed to claw my way back to a decent position. But it I don't know. This track is deadly. It's a deadly track. I warn everybody. Heed all who enter.
well, the margins for error on this track are surprisingly slim, especially given how long it is. But there's a lot of high stakes corners with really punishing curbs that if you're not prepared to kind of accept the consequences and drive it out, you're gonna be having potentially a rough time, kind of thing.
Yeah, we
Um,
see Archie coming up behind Simmons now. So yeah, it's a driver's course, that's for sure. Being for a long time we saw it in many different motorsports. Um, it's definitely a driver's course. Anything can happen here. This is where Senna had his famous race car driver must go for every gap incident. Recall that one.
I do.
This is where the late Murray Walker had his incredible call for the F1 championship coming home to England. I can't remember who won it that year. I feel horrible now. My friend John
Why I'm not big into
said,
F1, so you could say anything and I believe you.
no, I know it was a Brit, and it's totally going on my mind. It's, oh, I've got tears in my eyes, and I could cry. That famous call.
Oh, you're right.
That
I
was here
definitely
as
don't know
well.
who that is. So,
Very
just
famous
say
track. It's
something
a
and
driver's
you'll get
track.
me.
It's got pedigree. There's magic in the air here.
There really is, and there hasn't been that much change to it over the years. I mean, this is what a 70s, 80s track.
Yeah, I mean they've
Um,
changed around they changed around Casio a few times, but other than that, it is basically the same as it's always been.
I believe I
Just
mentioned this in previous seasons, but have you seen any of the prototype layouts, like the proposed layouts and the revisions when they were developing and building the track?
no, tell me
So,
more.
some of them are absolutely insane, and also kind of beautiful. Like they're one of the first ones, basically. The east track, which is the one with the S's, I believe.
Yep.
Um, it basically didn't exist, and instead they're basically a loop where the track doubled over on itself again. Um, and there's a couple where they hadn't planned out Spoon yet, and it just kind of went like all wobbly and was kind of it looked almost like like a kindergartner or something had just kind of gone nuts with the marker a little bit. And then there was one I'm gotta look it up because one might like I think revision something 3 um were absolutely like perfect. It had kind of a proto hairpin that was almost like a Degner version 2.0 kind of thing. I gotta make sure I'm talking about the right one here because they were some of them were nuts. I really wish you could have had that one where it doubles over on itself twice, but I think that would have been a little bit logistically
That is
problematic.
something for Gran Turismo to do. Because
Right,
if anybody
right.
could, Gran Turismo could. They could do a Gran Turismo, what if tracks. Also, we talk about this as these cars are side by side in the last 4 braking zones. And Simmons is defending hard here.
Yeah, Archie is giving him a run for his money,
Art
but
Simmons is taking the maximum track limit. Impressive.
definitely. Well, I mean, it's kind of granddad leading the grandson here. The Huracan is no doubt faster in most ways, but Max Simmons driving the older Gallardo is putting him in his place a little bit.
Yeah, what year did the Gallardo come out? 2006?
Oh, like 2003, something like that.
Oh my god, the car is
Uh,
literally 10 years older, 12 years older.
Something like that. I mean, I'm still trying to find the freaking Suzuka maps. Like, why is it so difficult?
So while
Uh,
you're on that,
this is gonna
another
kill me, man.
great storyline is Mr. Eugeni. I think, I believe it was last week or the week before that, he missed his podium, but he was on quite a podium streak, a regular Lando Norris, Mr. Consistent here. And so now we're in a position where he's on the podium as of right now, as it sits. Again, I think it goes without saying that I think he is the most improved driver in the field. I think that much.
Jenny?
Oh, absolutely.
You think so?
I think he went from a driver, to at the end of the last season, he was starting to find his way deeper into the top 10. He's clawing his way up. And now this season, he's firmly grasped the third place and second place in his hand. The only thing missing is for him to hit that top shelf, and I think it'll happen sooner than we think. All it takes is one wrong move from Kenny or Kawajiri here, and things change up quite drastically.
Well, Eugenie is no stranger to the top of the field. I think he's yet to clinch an outright victory,
Yeah,
but
second place is his best finish, he said.
he's come close several times. I know that. And yeah, like you said, I think it's only a matter of time. Eugenie is kind of the case of stick with what you know kind of thing. I mean, he's always driven that Vulcan horse M6, basically every iteration, and he's always been there. He's always been competitive, and while not always in the top 5 or 6, he's been very solid and he's very consistent. So I think there's definitely something to be said for that. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets a win, and it might even happen here today.
Yeah, and honestly, he doesn't make mistakes. And if more drivers, if I could put 15 out of 20 cars on the field and just turn them into Eugenie clones, the racing would be very tight, the pack would be intense, there would be a lot of mistakes. The other 5, I don't know who I'd throw in there. Maybe a few Butlers or Barkers in there, just so we can get that tongue twister going on who's and what. But he really is an incredibly consistent, and it just hits his marks. He never overdrives the car. And I think that's a problem we see for a few of our drivers is they really want to overdrive it. And when you're overdriving the car and you're hot lapping every lap, you're going to have trouble. But if you go out there and you say, my best lap is a 202.5, and that's my absolute best lap when I'm on qualifying fuel and I'm pushing, then come race day, you hit that 205 in qualifying or 202.5 in qualifying, and you go out there and you say, okay, in fuel, I'm not going to hit the 202.5. I can't outbrake myself to do that. I literally cannot do that yet. Let me just hit my marks. And I say this to everybody that I've ever helped with coaching. Do not drive faster, drive better. When you drive better, the time comes off. Simmons knows this. He's adopted the mantra. He's the poster child of it now, because and so is it. Unfortunately, he's not here. Chris, Daddy's boy Stevens. The mantra: drive better, not faster. And when you drive better, you hit those marks cleaner. The braking is cleaner. Your acceleration is cleaner. Your turn in is cleaner. Your mid corner is cleaner. All of a sudden, as you clean up your driving, oh wow, the time comes off for you. So we need to get that. I need to get that made into a banner. We need to hang
think
that
so.
somewhere.
Yeah, we need
Just
that. We need
big
a
old
flag
banner.
of that.
Yeah.
Get a Zazzle going.
Yep. I think I need to get that stamped with a TM.
maybe apply for a copyright or something.
That's not too hard. Creative Commons license.
Make them royalties. No. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's definitely something to be said for it. I mean, for a while, David Nelson in 5th place was kind of the poster child, especially in season 1 of the rebooted Academy last, a couple seasons ago. Him versus Rachel Garrett was kind of a big thing. I mean, I remember absolutely eating that championship fight up because they were kind of diametric opposites. Seems like Nelson, and we kind of see this happen sometimes, whereas, well, he's had no shortage of bad luck also, to be clear. But we see this happen where kind of as the driver gets better and more keen to push, they sometimes kind of lose sight of the stability and the kind of the steadiness that we're kind of used to seeing from like Nelson and stuff, or Eugenie. But it's not very often that you get to see a driver that can kind of just improve and also kind of maintain their air, because as you get kind of more competitive, you kind of want to become more competitive, and it's a cycle that kind of feeds into itself, I think. So tip of the hat to Javier for being able to manage this, and it's almost unfortunate because we don't see. I mean, he's there all the time, but we don't see a lot of him on camera because he's not he doesn't make all the really bold moves that we normally see from like from the likes of Higgs and Arjona and Kenny and stuff. But he's definitely there making it happen. He's putting in the hours and getting it done. So I think that's something that's really worth kind of drawing attention to. You say his highest position was second?
Yes, his highest finish was second place.
Okay. And with that, the pit window opens. Wait, no, has it been open for a while? I feel like it's been open for a while. Is it always 20 minutes? Do I know anything? I don't think I know.
No,
anything.
Pit window is 20 minutes in the middle of it.
Okay.
It just opened. It just opened now.
Okay, that makes sense. I could have swore I saw it earlier, but I'm probably just playing tricks on myself. So yeah, we'll have to see how this works. The infamous strategy of AXRT. It looks like Simmons has fallen to 11th, by the way. Looks like that battle with Archie might have resulted in a little spinneroni. Not entirely sure there, though. Unfortunately, we don't have replay capabilities, what with this being a little bit delayed. So, unfortunately. But we'll have to see how the pit resolves itself. Suzuka doesn't have an enormously long pit, but it's not short at all. And it looks like Castagno immediately is our first taker into the pits to get that mandatory pit stop figured out. We'll have to see how that works. Oh, it looks like Dave Nelson is in his fight with Matt Higgs has gotten a little bit wide and is off in Digner too. The Higgs crawls his way back up into 5th place after losing it with that collision with was it Arjona or is it Munoz that he hit in Degner?
There's too many accidents at the start of the race here. It's starting to escape me.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I figure it's probably Munoz just because Munoz has just been the poster child for bad luck today, but can't say for certain, sadly. One person we haven't seen in a while is James Butler. Oh god damn it! Butler and Barker are next to each other. Oh no!
Not again.
I see my life flashing before my eyes. My commentator's career is over. Matt Higgs way out breaking himself on the beginning of the Castillo triangle there. Uh-oh, Javier Castagno Munoz, stop and go penalty of 30 seconds. Ooh, that's gonna be a killer. Yeah. Well, it is a really interesting pit entrance. It's a very long, well, not very long, but it's a longish right-hand curve that kind of makes the pit a little bit of a blind entrance. I mean, to be clear, there's no shortage of those in our in our track list here, but this is definitely one of them. So it's not too difficult to see that happening, especially if they Castagno, that is, maybe didn't practice the pit entrance too much. We'll have to see how his partner Arjona manages because he's just now entered the pits as well. And yeah, I think with that, there's not going to be too much left in it for the XRT boys. I mean, not that they would have to get pretty astonishing finishes with WRT Audi basically completely dropping the ball catastrophically.
Yeah, both of them would have to completely retire from the race like right now, and then we'd have to see both Xavier and Arjona finish 1-2 and collect like maximum bonus points. I don't think it's plausible at this point anymore.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to see a lock for the season championship. I believe Higgs mathematically, as long as he finishes the race, will also secure the championship. So we're getting into, as far as the championship goes for first place, it's kind of like garbage time. You know what I mean? It's we're dotting our stuff, putting our bow on it. They want to finish strong. This is a victory race, a parade race for these guys, which is fine. So it's good to see that there was some team that was able to just. It's sad because the two main competitive teams here, one had very consistent, strong finishes and good luck, and another team couldn't put it together consistently. They had accidents throughout the beginning of the first season, starting from the very first race with our Hona at Bathurst, getting into Alex Shiny Boy Sheen,
Oh yeah.
and it's just one of those things where the black cloud has been over them. But hopefully, going into into another season, they'll have much better luck, and it's got to turn around eventually. The can't always come up tails.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sadly, as much as we'd like to say it, it's just there's no way to not you have to get at least a little bit lucky in order to win a championship. That's just the way it is. There's just sadly too much time involved and too much going on to just be able to have it be all on skill. And so unfortunately AXRT has just been so trodden with bad luck that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles, so to speak.
Yeah,
But I mean
precisely.
there's still definitely well into second. It's just a shame that the stars couldn't align for him a little bit and help him out there. So Arjona is now out and safely in 10th. We'll have to see how the rest of the field kind of shuffles itself through. Higgs is only 2 seconds behind though. I wonder if Arjona might have had a slow pit.
It's very possible. Very possible. That is quite a jumperino there, isn't it?
That's another thing. With all the strategy that Arjona and Castaño put into their pit management, they seem to be kind of stumbling over each other on the execution a little bit. We've noticed that while Arjona has made up some time in the past, it seems like he loses time more often than gains it. Wonder maybe just a little more practice with the stalls and stuff is necessary. I know it can be hard to nail everything perfectly. I mean, I hardly practice, but so that's probably all on me. But it is difficult to get all that stuff in. So I wonder what happens there really. Kenny now in the pits as well. They're kind of timidly funneling in. We normally see a big old wave at the start and then a big old wave at the end. We've
Yeah,
only kind
normally
of
you do
seen
see the big chunks.
we've only got kind of a little trickle going on. I wonder if many of them are saving it. We're all not even halfway done with the race. We're getting close, but there's still quite a bit of racing left to do as the sun weighs heavy in the afternoon air there. With that, Tronosuke Kawajiri now up to first place. I mean, obviously, that's the nature of the pit, uh, you know, um, order. But they will get a point for leading a lap.
Indeed.
And just like that, Eugeni also finds himself up to second place. So we'll have to see how he manages that. I'm actually kind of rooting for Eugeni now with all this talk. I kind of want him to. I kind of want him to win. I'm a little pumped, I guess. Wait, so the green Audi is Higgs, correct?
No,
This
that
yellow.
is Sean Kenny.
Oh, that's
Higgs
Kenny.
is the
Okay,
yellow guy.
that's what I was gonna say. Which one's yellow? Which one's green? Which
So
one's red?
yeah, Kenny is coming out of the pits ahead of Arjona. He's clear by plenty of time. And we'll see how these pits cycle out, but as long as we don't see what we saw last time where drivers were getting hit with speeding penalties, we shouldn't see any major issues here.
Yeah, that checks out.
All's well that ends well so far. So good.
We're coming up on the halfway point here. 1 minute left. Now Dave Nelson's turn to hold the second place banner. As Javier Eugeni dives in the pits. Yeah, I mean, aside from lap one, it's and a couple of accidents here and there. Not a whole lot of carnage going on. Everyone's just kind of shuffling around a little bit. Slowest gap we have currently is about 4 seconds. Eugeni's now just left the pits, so we'll have to see where he funnels out. Looks like he just, yeah, it looks like Arjona or Castano just got by.
Castano had that 30-second stop and go on pit, if I remember correctly, as well as plenty of damage. So his race is pretty much done and dusted here. Maybe he can make up some time, but I'm not sure how much of that he's going to really eat into in 40 minutes. Sure, he could make up all the he could make up the repairs, or he could make up the stop and go. I don't see him, or I don't see him making up both.
Well, it would be a pretty tall ask, yeah. I mean, I think the best you can kind of hope for is just to set the cruise control and kind of just kind of turn until 45 minutes is up. Wait, so he's 2 laps behind Higgs, is that right? Oh no, I guess that makes sense, because between the damage, like you said, and the extra stop and go, that has to be pretty severe.
Yeah, been gone for a while.
So kind of looking at Toranosuke Kawajiri's times, well, it just lost it, but it was a 203, low 203, I think it was 203.1, which is one of the faster times we've seen in this race so far. I believe Archie had said at 202.5. I saw one of those in there somewhere. I think it was Archie. But a great effort put in by the newcomer. Kind of interested to see what his I should say, previous experiences, if any.
I am not entirely sure. I could check and do some digging on their background and going forward if they join us in another season. I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
But so far so good. They're shown to be a strong competitor here. It's a shame that their outing had to be late in the season when many of our drivers packed up, said I'm gonna save on the shipping and handling costs, and
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say 911 GT3 race cars do not fit in a flat rate box for the Postal Service. So.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's gonna be more than $4.50 to get that thing to Japan, sadly.
I definitely think you're right. I think they're going to be looking at some extreme shipping costs.
No kidding. And so now we see, yeah, it happens. We see Kawajiri diving into the pits now, deciding to finally get that done. What with his leading laps now taking effect. So good on them. I'm kind of curious what. Oh no, it's because we pitted. Okay, I'm loopy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I was like, why is Kenny in 6th? Oh, so it wasn't Archie that said a 202.5. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what might have been Higgs. Well, no, I don't think it was Higgs. World may never know.
Let's see here. Digging through some of our conversation. I think they didn't give me much background at all, actually. Asking if there was room on the finale. So.
What is the limit? Do you think? Does it limit it by track? Does ACC limit the field size by track?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's based off of pit stalls for most tracks that have over 50 stalls, and then tracks that have under 50 stalls.
I see. Oh, so even with tracks that couldn't hold 50 stalls, or that
don't have 50 stalls, you'll double stack.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Which you see them do that at.
Oh no, Kawajiri with a stop and go penalty, speeding in pit lane. That'll get you.
That'll get you.
Sorry, as you're saying.
You know, it's all right. More important information. Yeah, I think it was Donington or no, I think it was Snetterton. I watched a Snetterton race from last season, where there were so many cars that showed up. Instead of having a normal pit box, which is sideways, they pulled in like parking out front of a main street, like diagonal,
Oh, really?
so that they could. Yeah, and I want to say the same thing happened with Jimmy Broadbent. They had the same thing where instead of pulling into a normal pit stop sideways, they were pulling in. They had to pull in like parallel, like sideways, like 90 degrees,
Wow.
or perpendicular. Excuse me. And there was actually a few accidents in pit lane because in order for the cars to get out of the pit stall, they had to be pushed out when there was a gap.
Ugh, that
So like
sounds like a
the crew
nightmare.
had to literally push the car in reverse, and then they
So,
could hit the gas and go.
so this is a real life race then.
It's a real life problem that some tracks have that they, depending on the regulations for their series, especially if it's a small enough series or if it's a home track for a series where they want to make that exception, then yeah, they double stack. Obviously, tracks like Le Mans are never going to do that, right? That's
Yeah.
just how it is. But yeah, there are tracks that double stack. This track has the highest number of drivers allowed in a session. Over 100 are allowed on Suzuka.
Really? Do they start stacking up in the east?
I have no
Uh,
idea if it automatically opens when you get 100, but yeah, there's 100 and something pit stalls according to the PDF.
100. That
Yeah,
is
it actually
fast.
says 100 pit stalls. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know
I'm
if they
kind of
open
curious.
up the east pit stall.
We need to get a whole ESR powwow going in, and we just gotta test the system and see
Server test.
where all the freaking cars go. You know,
Yeah,
thing.
server test 100 cars on
I'm
Suzuka.
I'm flashing back to some of the old Automobilista 1 and R Factor 1 like mods you could have where if you there was sometimes no limit set to the number of cars you could have, so but the system would freak out if you if you exceeded the number of stalls, so they would just start piling cars like on top of each other. Sometimes they would spawn beneath the ground and you would fall into the pit of hell or something.
Eh,
And and like it would just be really like your wheels would explode or something stupid. And so I kind of want to see what would I'm honestly curious. Do you think there are 100 like like freaking what are they called, starting positions? What are those
pit
called?
stalls?
No, like
Oh, for
the grid
starting? Oh,
spaces.
I have no idea how that would actually play out. That's a good question.
I'm
But yeah, I
curious.
think it's 100 and something here, like 108, I think.
As you can kind of see right there,
And
as we watch Matthew Higgs, you can see all those grid spaces right there. Like they
yeah, but that's
don't
for like the east track.
exactly. They only use that for the east track. But I mean, do you
I
think there are
imagine it would
100?
extend all the way up
Think there are
to be
100 like
130.
grid spaces on just the front part? I don't think so.
I have no idea. But yeah, that's what I think the next would be. There's 80 at Silverstone and 74 at Spa or something. There's 60 at a couple tracks.
Well,
There's
Spa
definitely a
good.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well Spa kind of checks out because on the after La Source, there's just 1,000 pit spots or grid
74
spaces.
pit spaces, pit boxes.
Well, that's the. I was just talking about grid spaces because oh yeah, Spa has a million billion pit spaces because the pit lane is as long as many tracks are. But yeah, because like and then again, don't they have different starting positions for F1 versus GT3 and things like that? Well, they used
Yeah,
to. Do
depending.
they?
They use some use two different start lines and start finish lines. Because
Yeah,
there's
very
some
interesting.
people use the well, actually it does have two different start finish lines because we use the start line before a Rouge and the finish line after La Source or just before La Source.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It's a mess. That's a weird track.
I try not to think about it,
Yeah.
in spite of the fact that I introduced the conversation in which we're talking about it.
Yeah, right?
Anyway, all of our
We
drivers.
gotta kill time here somehow.
Right, all of our drivers have completed their pit stops, and this is kind of the order we're running in. Only really battle is what we're looking at right now between Dave Nelson and Matt Higgs. There's about a second between them. Looks like Higgs had some sort of foible in the pits, or maybe Nelson just got an astonishing pit, because he was in 6th just a few laps ago, and now he's jumped Higgs and then whoever else to get up into 4th. So Higgs has passed Nelson about 18 million times in this race, by my professional estimate. So we'll have to see if he's
18
gonna make it.
million seems about right. Add
Yeah.
soon to be a billion squillion.
Yeah, exactly right. I can only count so high, but I'll do my best. And with that stop and go penalty, we've got the kind of stop and goers at the back here with Cavagiri in 11th and Castagna Munoz in 12th. Definitely unfortunate, but that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles, it seems.
Yeah, maybe they'll have some good racing with each other. Although there was such a gap between them to begin with, I'm not sure what kind of gap we
Mayhaps. I'm
see
waiting.
now.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm waiting for the timing gates to update. I don't think we even catch them next to each other on the
No,
gaps.
Kawajiri's right behind Simmons as well. So even with the stop and go, Simmons is still desperately holding on to top 10, and it doesn't look like it's gonna last.
So but with the people leaving, David Broche,
Oh, and
Hemian
there
and the
he
like. Oh,
goes. He
spinning
gets
around the
bumperinoed.
Yep. Wait, was that a bump? I didn't see it. I was looking at
Either
the
he hit
quality
the
order.
curb wrong or he got bumped, but he had a sudden lap of rear end grip. We'll say
Well,
it looked like he got a little bit of a bump and run, but it was
well,
too much of a bump.
I suppose of all the places to have an accident, that's probably one of the better ones.
Very slow
Um,
speed corner.
and I was just gonna say, I mean, I won't say it's a commentator's curse because I didn't say it yet. So I'm scot
I said
free.
something.
Okay.
Commentator curse.
Yeah, exactly. You can have that one. But no matter what spot he finishes, so long as he finishes at all, he's ahead of his qualifying position of 13th. So
I don't see him quitting.
yeah, no, me either. Props to Max Simmons. I don't think I've ever seen him quit. Well, with the exception of a couple of times when they're having thunderstorms in his IRL area, and he was worried about power surges and stuff.
Yeah,
So
which is understandable depending on
yeah,
where you're from. Some people
can
are
I
regular Thunder Plains.
Oh yeah. Can I just give a shout out to Simmons, by the way? He's a monster. Like he's been racing exclusively like multiple hour enduro series in other groups and stuff. Um and, like what for example, we're in the same team in that mini enduro that I was kind of talking about we did at Road America, and he's like, this is nothing, I did the 4 hours or the 9 hours of was it Spa, and there's like a whole bunch of different ones, and that he's a crazy mad lad. I don't
He
get it.
is. He's been putting
How do
in the
you do
midnight
that?
oil, just burning it, just
Yikes.
going for it. And so he's again, I get messages every once in a while from different people that I've helped. My inbox is always open, and I check it as frequently as I can. I'll get messages, updates from people. Someone that had been struggling and they did some series somewhere. Oh, dude, I finished in X place, and this, that, and the third, and blah blah blah. And it does my heart good. I feel like that teacher that gets that message from the student
Yeah.
that graduated from college and got some nice job, and oh man, I just scored some grant to go dig up mummies and blah blah blah, and it was all
That's a
it's
very
kind of one of
specific
those
analogy. I
things.
like it.
Yeah, because it is what it's like. You getting like letters. It's like letters like dear teacher,
Dear
so
teacher, yeah.
but that's what happens when you run an academy and you're one of the first people that a lot of people in the sim racing community really interact with heavily. I could sit here and I could talk about names of people. Oh, it looks like someone's going for a pass. Let me hold that thought for a
That's
moment
Eugenie.
here.
Oh wow, Castano just well, I was gonna say he
Castagno
bottled
let him through, but
130R.
he let him through a little too graciously there, and I think that's his teammate behind him. So
It
he's
looks like
firmly
Arjona.
lapped. Yeah, that is Arjona. I'm sure he'll let Arjona through even safer than that, as they'll definitely be over the walkie-talkie.
The
To go
what?
over what I was saying, the walkie-talkies, man.
Oh, the walkie-talkie. Got it. Right. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, there we go. Boost Moblad. Um, But yeah, no, I could still remember, you know, I started sim racing in 2011, and I can still remember, maybe even earlier than that. I can still remember a lot of the names of people that I associated with back then. Some of the people I missed racing with the most. Um, and some of which I'm still in touch with, and it's always good when you know you see people still racing, and you know you don't forget the first few. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah,
That's just how it goes. I'm sure you could sit here and go, yeah, I remember the first. You could probably name half the field of the first race you ever raced in. Why?
oh
You never
yeah,
raced with them again, but you can
exactly.
still recall their name because they were there. You know, it's one of those deals.
Oh,
Um,
100%. Kind of akin to that. Like I was a member of the race room beta
ooh,
when it was like first announced. I remember I subscribed to Moto Games TV, a YouTube channel like that. I think they're Polish or something, and they were starting this race stream thing. And it was back when, I don't know if any of you guys in the audience remember this, but back when the early like the beta days, when they had like the circular menu with all the weird horrible buttons, and like I still remember like. And what's one thing I like kind of like about that community is that a lot of those guys I raced with back in the day, I had a Logitech G27,
I
like
still do.
the old. Wait, you do?
Yeah, that's what I race on.
Dang, I didn't know that. I thought it was the like
Yeah.
29.
No, I'm on a 27, baby. That thing
What a
came out in
boy!
'09.
Woof. That thing got me through Gran Turismo's 5 and 6 on my
Yep.
PS3 back in the day.
Yep.
That was a crazy time. But I still see some of the guys that I raced with way back in the day in the race room beta on race room. Sometimes I'll just pop into a server and they'll be turning laps in the silhouettes. Georg Ortner, who actually turned out to be one of the devs I raced with back in the day. I mean, we never really talked or anything, but I still see him around. And ESR even has some experience with some of those guys. Martin
Oh
Martin
yeah, I know that
Klapzool
name.
is one that we've had experience with. I'm sure a lot of you in the audience shudder. We had an interesting relationship for a while. um,
The
but
Ortner guy, I recognize that name. It took me a second where I recognized it. I remember. I think he streamed some of the races he did before because I
yeah, hmm
remember watching him at Bathurst years ago when the track was new to Race Room. I think.
hmm he did a lot of the
Wow.
recording for a lot of those like uh what were they called, like
They stream on
releases and
Facebook,
trailers
don't
and
they?
stuff. Yeah, they do. Javier Castaña Munoz with a drive-through penalty, probably for track limits. No, that's
More than
unfortunate,
likely.
but it's not like he had really much to lose, unfortunately. um
That's unfortunate.
but yeah, no, the like a lot of people, um like I could name a whole bunch of them that no one's gonna recognize, but like just people that are still hanging out. And some of them I talk with, not very many, but it's always like kind of comforting, kind of like getting into an old sweater. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember these guys. They're still freaking messing
Well,
around. And
it's funny because I'm in ESR literally because of Travis, because Travis is one of those guys I raced with back in 2000 and like 10, 2011.
really,
Travis Wallace.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wallace, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who introduced me to Race Room. I raced with him back then when we were still on the old Xbox, and he was going by
Huh.
the moniker Mr. Pibb or Dr. Pibb.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
What a throwback.
Years and years and years ago. It's crazy because I literally knew him multiple years before his kid was even born, and then now his kid is like almost, is old. Like, you know
He's
what I mean?
old.
It's weird. It makes me
Yes.
feel old. I'm like, holy
Oh,
Nikes.
I
I
believe
remember
it.
being on Xbox when we were a
Nikes.
bunch of, teenagers, and now here we are, much older. Although
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know if he was a teenager. He might have been in his very early 20s. I don't know how old he is. He's got to be pushing 30 now, but it's just crazy. Another buddy of mine who's not on Race Room, I've been trying to get, or not, I say Race Room, ESR. I've been trying to get him on is a buddy of mine named Frank. I did the racing with him and stuff, and over the years you add people on social media and stuff that you're really good friends with. A couple weeks ago, he won his first real life race.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude, that's
yeah.
awesome.
He's up out in the boondocks racing on ovals, like short oval tracks, and
Oh, like
yeah,
dirt
he.
ovals or something?
No, I mean it's paved, but it's
Oh,
tiny.
okay.
It's more of
Oh,
a
okay.
donut than an oval. You know what I mean? A bagel even
Oh,
because
yeah,
he's in New
like
York.
we're talking like 20, 30-second laps kind of thing.
Probably less than that. I mean, even a half-mile oval is less than 30 seconds a lap.
No, that's fair.
But
Wow, what a freaking
it's
what's
crazy
something to
though.
learn, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm from Connecticut. We've got 3 oval tracks in Connecticut and 2 road courses, which is a lot packed into a small state. We've got
Oh,
Lime
definitely.
Rock and Thompson for our road courses, and then Stafford, Waterford, and Thompson. Thompson also has an oval. In fact, it is the oldest asphalt paved oval in America.
Wow. Okay, the
The
more you
oldest
know.
paved, yes, the oldest paved air quotes oval in America is obviously the Brickyard, but it's
Hmm.
paved with bricks, not asphalt.
Yeah, that was a more recent thing.
Yeah, so the bricks are the Brickyard is a bit older in terms of the bricks, being paved in bricks. But yeah,
Huh.
we've got some racing pedigree here in my neck of the woods.
No
You
kidding.
know, so I got to grow up watching a lot of the legends from like the 70s and 80s and the twilight years as well for oval racing. I know a lot of our members are European, so this is gibberish to them, but I got to grow up watching, the people that and some of the drivers you see on NASCAR now. Truex Jr. I watched him before he was in NASCAR. The Bodines, Jeff Bodine and what was his brother's name? Brent Bodine or something like
Oh,
that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've all these a lot of NASCAR guys. Put that Tony Stewart. Saw Tony Stewart back in the day when they're racing, smaller things like way back. Of course, at the time he was racing both. Tony Stewart just wants to drive, but I think Matt
Yeah.
Kenseth. It used to be a Busch Series track. So when those guys were racing Busch stuff occasionally, they Busch North, they'd come up here. So
Huh.
another 10-minute diatribe to get us off of whatever monotony that this race has devolved into. We lost another one.
Yeah, I was just
Castano
it's Castano
Muniz
Munoz. Oh, he
retired.
gave up. Oh, well, I suppose there's only so much you can take, even someone as stalwart as him.
He might have had another accident, or he may have just retired for
I
being down
I
so
think it
far
was
in
just
the
that
final race of the
drive-through that he
season.
got. I think the
Yeah.
drive-through
Oh,
was
you're right. The final
the
drive-through
nail in
was
the
probably
coffin.
his
He was
best
like,
hit.
I'm out of here. Well, and so Simmons will advance up the field more. Well, I guess he's not really advancing, but he's
I
reducing
mean,
his losses. He's
hey,
two positions
one
above. Yeah,
more, and he's in the money for a top 10,
yeah,
and
guaranteed
guaranteed.
for your money back.
Yeah. So
And as we're kind of talking, I just realized Javier Eugeni up to second. Like, to be clear, Arjona's really big in his rearview mirror there, but he's making good progress.
he
He's
is.
lost about a half a second on Kenny ahead in the last lap and a half or so, but it's not inconceivable. I mean, Kenny's had some bad luck before, so it's not
Fingers
he's not
crossed for him.
outside of striking distance.
Fingers crossed for Mr. Kenny. Honestly, either of these drivers winning would be awesome. I think I'd love to see Jenny do it, but Kenny had his totally stolen away from him with some bad pit procedure, bad luck. Maybe one might even say underhandedly there was a penalty doled out for it. So as it sits, it's one of those deals where it's just one of those deals where it's like either one could win and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a new person take the top step of the pedestal. But you are right. Arjona is big in that rearview mirror. He's just around 2 seconds back. Butler is making a crazy move into Degner 1, going into Degner 2.
Wow.
He's side by side with Nelson. He keeps it clean
Woo.
and he chops the nose off. He's going back across his bow and he's locked that position in.
That was
Wow.
that was bold as all get out. I mean, what was the earlier this race? We just got done saying you don't go too wide through Degners, but
Yeah, he made it work.
Butler was hearing. He was listening in a week ago, and he was like, "Bet
Absolutely.
I'll take those odds," and he did it.
Man, and again, I love seeing the Bentley. It's such a pretty car. It really is. It's so
I
different.
agree. I personally, for me, I don't like the rear lights so much. I like the
I like the
newer
front,
one. I like the newer one with the with the circular kind of rear lights.
the
Um,
Skyline-esque.
yeah, a little more skyliney, and it. I don't know. For me, the Bentley, all Bentleys are really kind of timeless in a lot of ways. They got really nice proportions, and you know,
Nice
they draw a lot of
proportions.
inspiration from the days of old, but they kind of upgraded. But the to me, the lights they look very mid 2000s in my opinion. The rear
Oh, I
lights, I
love
mean.
the bug eye lights.
No, no,
I'm a Porsche
the
guy,
rear,
so.
the rear lights.
Oh, the rear lights do look very bland. They remind me of the BMW 5 Series lights from that
Yeah,
one offshoot that everybody dislikes.
exactly. The mid 2000s one again. Yeah.
Yeah, that being said, though, the front profile of that car and it's coming right at you. The bug eyes remind me of the bug from Bug's Life.
Which one?
Um, or is it Bug's Life? Yeah, I think it is Bug's Life. It remind when they go to the Bug City. There's like one of those bugs with all the crazy eyes, and that's what it reminds me of. I just
Uh, I'm trying to think which
it wasn't like
one.
a main character. This is like one of the dudes in the back.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Then
it was
never
like one
mind.
of the dudes in the back. The guy that's in charge of the
Who wants
fleas.
the poo poo planet?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Oh gosh, friggin' Heimlich or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I think that voice actor passed away years ago
Oh
actually.
yeah, I know he did. What was his name? It's gonna kill me.
He played Ham and the Mack truck, didn't he?
No, it's not John Ratzenberger. He was the Flea. Wait, is
Yeah.
John Ratzenberger dead?
No,
Um,
I thought I remember growing up, I swear I remember in the Cars film, they said it was dedicated in memory of uh the one of the guys in
uh,
from those movies that was like a reoccurring
oh,
Pixar voice actor.
it was Ramped. Joe Ramped. He was Heimlich.
Yeah, okay, it
He
definitely was the butterfly because I think they said he is a beautiful
he
butterfly
was
or something like
no,
that when
but
he passed away.
he was one of the directors I think on Cars. I think might have
Oh,
been.
that
I
makes
don't think
sense.
I'm like 98% sure he didn't play a role, but
Okay, that makes more sense then.
I'm pretty sure I know he was in. And yeah, they did have a dedicated to kind of segment at the end. I forget did he
Yeah.
because he was really young. He wasn't a super old guy.
No, he must have had
Um,
something tragic happen with it. It's always sad when you see a life taken so young.
yeah. But yeah, I can kind of see a resemblance. I again like it's kind of something that you see in the kind of as you start to get into the more ridiculously expensive as opposed to just expensive cars, right? When you start moving away from BMWs, Mercedes, and get into Bentleys and Rolls Royces and stuff, or even then you get into like Bugattis and whatnot. But like I'll say, yeah, the Continental got really great proportions, really timeless. This car takes its inspiration from the mid early 2000s, and you honestly couldn't tell it. Like they massage it through the years. They got little LED running lights and a little more aggressive grills and such. And then with the very newest ones, they've kind of moved away from the kind of blocky rear lights to the really slim ovals, which I have a big ol' love for. Ooh, Max Simmons getting really slidey around turn 1 and 2. Woo!
Going through those marbles too. That's
That
some
was
nasty pickup.
scary. That was
Yeah, it
scary,
was.
but he held it. I kind of had a flashback to what was it, a Kyalami in season 3 of the GD Challenge. And it was Travis Wallace actually, who little throwback to that conversation, who did a really nasty drift on his cooldown lap, and he had a couple of turns chained together that I never thought I could see a V8 Vantage GT3 do some of some of that sick Formula D stuff. But shout out, I guess.
I think someone races one in Formula D. I know that there's a guy in a Ferrari, like an older like an '09 Ferrari GTO, like the front engine Ferrari.
Oh well, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah,
Those things are goofy looking in there.
I mean, yeah. There's basically that's one thing I kind of like about Formula Drift. I'm a little bit not as big of a fan just because of it's pretty subjective, right? Like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, it's a
how do
spectacle
you?
more than a sport for the casual viewer.
Yeah, but I do just love how completely Wild West it is. There's just there's so little regulation on what you can be doing. I mean, yeah, there is regulation, but I mean, I think what was it? Was it a Hoonigan thing? But someone I remember seeing a YouTube video where they quoted like the range of power. Like I heard Formula D cars go all the way from like 600 horsepower all the way up to like 12 or 1300.
That sounds
With
about right when they turn them turbos all the way up, you know?
yeah, I mean, and so like it's just crazy. I mean, you get the stalwart like Von Gittin Jr., Chelsea Denofa, and the Mustangs, but then you also got what's his face? Well, Tanner Faust was racing a Scion TC for a while. They have uh what's his first name? McNamara, and he had a Saturn Sky that was V8 swapped and
I remember
ridiculous.
that. I do remember that.
Or the gosh dang it. There's one really recently who just built an M2, like a newer M2, and then swapped the S65 V8 with revs to like 9,500 RPMs out of a later or an earlier M3. Like it's just completely insane and stupid, and I love it.
Well, speaking of
Um,
insane and stupid, it looks
we
like
got
Nelson might be
Nelson.
trying a move into the 130 here if he's able to get enough of a draft.
Speaking of stupid, whoa, he's doing a dance, little
Yeah, he's going right,
Lamborghini
going
mating
left,
ritual maybe.
possibly. Be careful, you
I don't
might
know
maim
that.
that front bumper with the rear bumper.
Getting a little sniff, I guess. Yeah, that Bentley's got quite the badonkadonk. So watch out, Nelson. You might bite off a little more than
Yeah,
you
he wants
bargained
a
for.
whole lot of room.
But we noticed that that Archie is actually not any too far behind either.
No, and all it
Wow,
takes
he
is one
cleared up.
mistake from them.
Well, he cleared up over half a second in just that one sector. We just saw it flip down from 1.3 to 6 or 0.67 or 68. So now there's a train. The Bentley's the he's got a couple Lamborghinis in tow.
A late race train.
This could be interesting to watch. We're looking at Arjona, who's made his way back up to third. So I'm not entirely sure when that happened, but he's been. Well, I guess he never really fell that far, did he?
Now we're taking it on board with David Nelson.
Oh, there goes
He's
Archie.
letting Archie through. I think he's saying, "Go, Archie, go on the attack."
Go get him.
Yeah, exactly. This is the team orders,
Where
you
are we?
see.
Oh
No,
no,
and then
there
he
he
goes
goes.
by Archie again.
Meow, into the Degners.
Wow. For a second I thought he was gonna say, "Go ahead." In this situation, Nelson and Archie. Typically, Archie has the faster pace. Nelson's been hovering around fifth all day. If I'm in this situation, I'm telling my teammate with the more outright pace, "Go by me. I'm gonna go ahead and follow you through this guy. We'll both gain the positions."
Yeah, well, although
Let
so
the faster guy open the hole, and then you just go with it. You set him up.
yeah, well, a couple of comments on that, and I'm probably gonna lose one of these because I have two brain cells and they're actively fighting each other at all times. But I'll do my best. I was just gonna comment on how like exceedingly terrible that camera angle was of the onboard of Nelson because there's like maybe a couple of inches with the high belt line of that Lamborghini, but they got more uses out of that than I think they could have ever hoped for. With him Archie
Yeah.
going by and then getting repassed. But then
Yeah, it was pretty
also.
fortuitous.
Yeah, but then also, we could probably insert some like some Scooby Doo sound effects there too, with a whip,
Yeah.
like some boingings. But also to your comment about the letting him through to kind of let the guard dog loose and go and soften him up a little bit. That's worked sometimes, but it also has plenty of times kind of backfired a little bit. I can't cite any incidents, but I know they happened. Except for I can cite in a couple seasons ago 3D Speed finale at Kyalami, where Mika, What, and I were on a team in the Audis, and it was in the rain. And just as brief of a recap as I can give, Mika's always been faster than me in pretty much every way. For a number of reasons, mainly he practices more, but also ACC just never agreed with me that much. But so he's always been faster, except in the rain. I must have been on a wavelength or something, but I was doing pretty well in the rain. And Mika and I was actually caught up to Mika, and I was like, oh, I don't want to. I don't want to mess with him too much. I'm just going to kind of park in his rear view and kind of let him, lead me to victory, so to speak. But then Jeff Wentworth was behind me and he caught up to me, and it was a really stressful train, and at some point it started to like backfire a little bit because I was like trying because Mika had a couple of rough corners and I tried to stay behind him, not get alongside and cause chaos. But that ended up causing chaos because then he had to try and figure out, well, what did should do I let Cole by kind of thing, and it ended up working out. But it definitely is a case of, well, how much do you want to concede? We kind of saw a similar thing happen with Archie. They're on a team, right? Nelson and Archie, I think so.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
They're in Barwell together.
Um, and we kind of saw a little bit of the same thing happen, but they're back to within a half second of each other. So we might have to see how that kind of unfolds as we enter the last
Yeah.
10 minutes of this 90 minute.
I think from from my experience in those sorts of situations, you know, you guys were on the defensive there, whereas in this case, the two Lamborghinis trailing are on the attack, so they can try whatever they want to try. They've got a huge 22-second buffer back to the V12 of Barker, so I think
That's fair.
it's completely safe that they just send it, right? Jostle around, do what you want to do. I know in the last F1 race that I watched, AlphaTauri had given Yuki Tsunoda the order to let Gasly through.
Oh yeah, I heard
And
about that.
then he was holding up, Yuki Tsunoda claimed that Gasly was holding him up, and he's like, what the hell? He's slowing. I let him through, and now he's just sitting there. So then they told they gave Gasly a little more power, where they told him to put his foot down a little bit rather than just cruise in front of him, and he ended up gapping him by a pit stop's worth because eventually, I believe, Gasly was able to snipe the fast lap on the very last lap of the race and not lose position. So that's one of those situations where letting the driver through did work out. It was just a matter of, was that driver going to push for it? So this
Yeah.
train is developing really late in the race. Now
Whoa.
Nelson's looking to the inside. Wow, very
It's very
dicey.
bold.
Yep. And you kind of come back out and back in here. The racing line has a bit of a loop through that straightaway. So
Well, Butler seems to be having a little bit of cracks in his armor, although it's actually ending up causing a chain reaction with Nelson and Archie, kind of causing some inter-team awkwardness, or I guess it's intra-team, huh? And I mean, like a lot of things in racing, there's no choice but to kind of take it case by case. I mean,
wow, this
clearly
car's
it didn't work
exciting.
out. Yeah, clearly it didn't work out last lap, and we see Nelson going very wide, letting Archie through.
I think he's letting Archie through there as fast as he can, as tactically as he can. And now Archie's going to have a couple of laps to get this one done. Probably looking at about 3, maybe 4 laps, probably 4 laps, depending on how the white flag flies. Could be 3 laps though. 2 minutes and 5 seconds a lap.
Uh, I think it has to be at least three, probably four, right?
Yeah,
Because
anywhere from 3 to 4 laps. We'll have to see what happens. Archie clips the curb wrong and sets himself back a bit, but that's okay. You need spacing here. You need air going up this hill anyways. So being up behind
I
Butler
I
wouldn't
couldn't
do
help
him
but
too
notice
well
that
anyways.
Kawajiri is less than a tenth behind Barker.
Yeah, they had to be
Um,
side by side. Now he's up to a second behind Barker. There must have been some small contact, maybe.
maybe just got a little spooked or something. I guess
Nah, they're
the
not used
director
to
will
racing each
decide.
other.
The director will decide if it wants to watch this, or either battle is good, I think. Um,
Yeah, this is for
well,
5th place. This is for the final top 5.
I am kind of thinking about Butler and how, if he's at all worried, like what his kind of strategy. He's got, I estimate 4 laps, but potentially three. That's a long time to be holding up two ravenous Lamborghinis, especially when they're that close. Like Archie is right up on the tail of Butler. Looks like Butler's struggling through the hairpin, unable to get that Boatley turned around quite so effectively.
Yeah, and Butler's taking a 2/3 approach.
Whoa!
Whoa, right up
Oh,
on
that
the
was scary.
curbage.
A little bit of curbage going on.
Worried to see if he goes wide. No, he didn't blow spoon. I was curious with that camera angle if that curb caused him to blow spoon slightly, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I think as long as he holds steadfast, it's very doable. He's just got to make sure that he keeps his seat underneath him. Don't overdrive yourself.
Well,
Let
unfortunately, he's got the disadvantage where it's most deadly to him, at least from a position standpoint. Although Archie just kind of took a little bit of that inside curve a little too much, mayhaps. Because the Bentley is not terribly effective at the straights, even though they're
No, it's
not
not.
ultra long. Combined with the Huracan being just a smidge faster, but then also having the draft, there's got to be no shortage of stress levels. Looks like Nelson is falling a little bit back behind. Maybe he's
Yeah, I
trying to give
think it was
Archie
a
some
good thing they
room.
switched. Yeah, oh, that
Saying
too.
like,
He could be
hey,
giving him some
you know,
space.
I don't want to cause that awkwardness we had last time.
All right, now we get a
There we
peek at
go.
this
Barker
battle.
versus Kawajiri. Ooh, way close on to as they go into the
Almost just a
Casio triangle.
kiss. He gave him a nice good night kiss. He said, "Good night, Moon."
Go the fuck to sleep. Oh, sorry, I
Yeah,
shouldn't have said that.
it's all right. We get one.
Oh yeah, we're totally yeah
The FCC.
PG-13, right?
Everyone
Yeah.
gets one.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, we're totally FCC approved,
Compliant.
compliant. That's better.
And
Yeah.
we get a peek at Marco Bessi. Um, haven't seen him all race. He had a incident at the start, and his race has been in recovery mode since. By matter of circumstance, he'll finish top 10. Though I don't think he's going to be entirely happy with his race. He probably is very frustrated with what happened at the front of the race. Or, given the fact that this is post pit stop, there's no reason he couldn't have gained time on his opponent. So, maybe he. Oh, and we're going side
Ooh,
by side with
Archie.
Butler and Archie.
Archie finally had enough. He's going around the out, or I guess the inside of the
Gonna
hairpin. Now
soon
around
be
the
the
outside
inside
of
of
the
Spoon.
pre-spoon, and then into
Wow.
spoon. Love to see.
Archie's
Oh,
little spoon.
contact. Ooh, caused Butler to get a little destabilized. Although that
I
might have actually been good for his run into the exit there up to 130R.
There's a
The ben-
chance
the
that this
Bentley's
punch
gonna
is a little.
struggle. Yeah, the Bentley's gonna struggle no matter what in this straight. Can he apply enough pressure to maybe get it back?
Not sure that's
So
possible.
there's almost a guaranteed. Well, we might have even 3 laps yet because I think the leaders crossed the line already.
It's true. Maybe under braking. I'm not sure where the Bentley gets it done.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's
That
holding
being
on
said,
though.
John Archie's been squirrely all race. There's always the chance that something happens and John Archie gets a little squirrely going down into one of these corners. We saw him almost lose it here earlier.
Well,
So there's
I mean,
definitely a chance. We see
I
the
mean, he
Bentley
had that
visor.
one lap. He had that one lap where he just could not keep it out of the dirt, and I was at the first sector. So we'll have to keep an eye on this a little bit. We also have to see if Nelson can maybe say, okay, all right, you're through. Now it's my turn to maybe now you softened him up, got him got a little bit of quaking going on in his boots.
Got his head
So
rattled.
yeah, exactly. So maybe now I come in for the kill.
Well, it's
Um,
unfortunate because ideally Nelson would be right there. And wow, Arjona has closed the gap from 2.6 seconds down to a mere zero point 0.6 seconds with just over 2 minutes to go here in this race.
there
So
must have
we're
been
going to have to shift quickly to this.
yeah, there must have been some scariness going on in the cockpit of that BMW. But I mean, in the last like 5 or 6 laps, I just noticed Eugenie absolutely cutting down the time to Kenny in front from 13 to less than 6.
Makes me
Uh,
wonder if Kenny's having fuel issues and he's in the conservation mode. He had such a large lead. It's absolutely possible that he could be lifting here. And the
it's
sparks flying
possible.
from the Aston 312 of Barker as he goes through Degner. We've got, what was a very quiet mid-race has suddenly bursted into an excitement where it seems like every position is up for grabs.
Yeah, and we were seeing Kawajiri here try and plan a move on Barker. Um, there's no shortage of speed from Kawajiri, but he's gonna have to try and plan it out because the V12 hooks up probably better than the AMG does.
Yeah, and just eyeballing it from this dash cam of Sean Kenny, is it just me or does he seem a little slow?
He does seem a little slow. He hasn't lost any time to Eugenie in the last sector, but it's not to say that. Well, so is this the last lap? I think probably because he was going through the S's. He's got another minute 30 left.
I usually see, yeah, I have no idea.
Mm,
This should be the last. Should be.
we don't have
Should
white
be.
flags
Would be.
waving, so the race stewards aren't absolutely sure yet. I haven't seen a notice that they're calling leader last lap, so this will be a little bit of a clincher. We're gonna have to see. Now, it's foreseeable that Kenny could also, if he's close enough, delay his lap finish just to try and finish the race and not have to do another lap. But I don't. You have to be really close for that, probably, because he only got 5 seconds behind.
Yeah, we'll have to see where Kenny is when he hits the start-finish line. Right now, we're watching Higgs. As this is pre-recorded footage, we have no control over
Come on,
what we're watching. I
give
much
us
rather see
third.
our Hona.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Okay, attaboy.
So 30 seconds left as they're coming down out of Spoon here.
Wow, you can see Kenny is right up in there. Is that Kenny? No, that's Higgs.
No, that's Kenny. That's Kenny. Kenny's green.
So he's maybe. Is that 5.4?
That shouldn't
No
be
way.
5.4 seconds. That's got to be 3.5.
1.5.
1.6. He's got fuel problems.
He's got fuel problems. This could be it for Eugenie.
There's no way he doesn't have fuel problems. This could be Eugenie's victory.
And that's it. 6 seconds left in the race. Oh man. Kenny's got it.
If this goes one more lap, which I don't think it will, but if this goes one more lap,
white flag's out.
No way Kenny makes it.
Oh, he's pushing. He's going around.
Did he do it?
Yes, he did!
Yes, he did it!
Wow. 0.02 of a second. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
Eugenie.
Sorry for the scream there. Oh my gosh. I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
And that was incredible.
Holy shisa. I'm so glad I didn't watch this ahead of time.
You knew he had fuel issues. Wow.
What? Maybe he ran out. Maybe he ran out right in the end. I'm sorry for screaming. I'm gonna have to go into. I'm gonna have to edit that. I cannot contain my excitement there. Wow. We'll have to wait. Actually, screw it. I'm gonna check the race results right now because I got that.
Wow. No, that's solid. That's set in stone. He beat him by 2/100ths of a second.
Holy shit! I can't even believe
it. What
a
finish, Eugenie. Again, again, I said it earlier, and we went into this blind.
Kawajiri got by Barker. Looks like there's a mistake going on there.
Yeah, we went into this blind, and I said about 25 minutes ago, Kenny I would be happy with either of them winning, but in that fashion, I don't think it could get any more dramatic. What a way to cap off the season in the final 5 minutes of a race. From 13 seconds to 5 seconds to negative 0.028 seconds is that gap. Congratulations.
Absolutely insane. Tip of the hat.
Earned it. You earned it. You fought your way through the season. You had your first. You had multiple third places. You had your first, second, and you cap off the season in first. What an incredible victory for you in the BMW. Absolutely beautiful.
Astonishing. I gotta say, I was just making notes earlier about how he's had kind of a quiet season. He's kind of just been in the shadows a little bit. You see Albert asking if Kenny ran out of fuel with a little colon O.
Wow, what a! I mean, you could say it's. Oh, he thought one more lap. Did Kenny lift at the finish line?
Oh no! Oh, he might have been like, shit, I gotta save more fuel, and he just didn't need to.
Yeah, if he was low on fuel, he might have tried to save for one more lap, and he didn't need to save for one more lap.
Yeah, well, that confirms your suspicion. Wow. What a finish. I was just gonna say, like, we were making comments earlier how Eugenie's had kind of he's a season in the shadows. He's kind of just been there, but not really. I mean, he had good finishes, but what an ending! Just on fire. Absolutely incredible, well deserved, best race finish at the double points Suzuka finale of the 2016 GT Challenge. It doesn't get any better than that, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely, and remember at the beginning of the season we talked about there being a sub-series for the 3 90-minute races. I will go ahead and collect the information from this race, from Bathurst and from Spa to see who our champion is. I think it's going to be Higgs as well, although he didn't have... Well, yeah, it probably will be Higgs. He won 2 of the 3, right?
Yeah.
Did he win at Spa?
Well, I don't know. I don't actually know. I probably shouldn't say that.
I don't think he won at Spa. There's a chance that with that victory, Eugenie sniped it. But who knows? We'll have to take a look in the results. I'm going to go ahead and let my wonderful co-host here take us away from this one. It's been awesome doing the season with you. Hopefully we can do whatever comes next with the ESR Sunday GT Challenge Series. I'm sure we'll be going back to. We won't be doing a. For anybody wondering, we won't be doing another 2016 series for quite some time. And if we do, we'll pick a different year. Maybe it'll be 2017. Not that that changes much. So
Yeah,
probably more than likely we'll just be on to the regular stuff. We'll have to see where it takes us. We're gonna have some time off, and we won't be back until sometime in probably early September. I'll host some for fun stuff along the way, some testing things. But as far as the Sunday GT Challenge returning, we're a little bit of an extended vacation from the series, extended off season, so I can get some stuff squared up and set up and make sure everything's ready to go. But GG everyone that competed. Thank you to all the new faces. Thank you for everyone that had a
understatement,
fantastic
GG.
race. Yeah, it was amazing. Um, I will
Yeah,
I'll
well,
see all of you in the Discord, and I will see all of you next season whenever that comes about. So
yeah,
thank you.
keep
And I'm
keep
signing
us
off and
updated.
leaving you
I'm
with Cole McCray here.
Yeah, before you go real quick, I'd like to extend a thanks for hosting this series and doing all the work. You know, it's probably the most work that anyone's expended doing any of these series between the live and the extra stewarding and the weird format we've been doing. I understand it's probably stressful, so if no
The
one has
format
thanked
won't
you
come
for it,
back.
well, good. Glad to hear that it was worth it. But I just wanted, in case no one's done it yet, I'm sure they have. But I just want to extend a thanks, and then for being commentator as well. Like you wearing a lot of hats, so we appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it at the very least. So thank you very
Thank you.
much for organizing this, and then look forward to seeing what crazy plan you've got for next season, if or even a regular one. You know, maybe we need a
Who
little break.
knows? We
Who
might
knows?
take
We'll
a
see.
return to normalcy.
Exactly. So yeah. Thank you for doing the commentary here. It was a great conversation, and I'll definitely see you around next time.
Absolutely.
Yes, So with that, that is our finale, our final race. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, couldn't do it live, but what a finale. I think I speak no hyperbole when I say that I don't think we could have asked it for it to be any better than that. So in case you guys haven't already, why haven't you already? But look at us, ESR-race.org, Eat Sleep Race. We have a Discord, of course. We do racing series like this all the time for all skill levels, and even if you don't want to race or just interested in the sports, join us there. We have conversation and we have stuff for all skill levels, even as like literally zero. We do Wreckfest series every Friday, unofficial, but we're just have some drinks and just vent some steam. So whatever level you're at, we have something for you. If you want to get involved with commentary like Justin and I are doing, we have stuff for that too. So give us a shout, esr-race.org. There's a link to our Discord there. In the meantime, that was Justin Swan. I am Cole McCray. Look forward to seeing you guys next time and in any future series we have as well in our other games too. So I am signing off as well. Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon again. Thanks for being here, everyone. Bye-bye.